YouTube, we're back. I'm a little bit late today. Just want to say good morning to everybody, good afternoon to everybody. We're back on the regular schedule. I'm a little bit late. It's already 1 o'clock. Usually I'm done by now. We're going to be talking about Stavn and Heroic because yesterday they won ESL 1 Cologne Europe. So fruit fly. Oh, I got it. Oh, I'm nuts. There's a fruit fly in my room, but Heroic beat Vitality 3-0 to win ESL 1 Cologne yesterday. An unbelievable achievement. First Danish team to win an event, an ESL 1 event, apart from Astralis winning the Road to Rio event in June. They've never won Cologne. They've never won in New York. They've never won Chicago, Sydney. Wow, there's a lot, actually. Or sorry, those are IEMs. Anyways, ESL 1 Cologne events. This is breaking ground here for Heroic. An amazing performance by them. What the hell? Are they number 2 in the world right now? Holy smokes. You know what, though? Okay, as Kadian said in his post-match interview, the youngest team in the top 20 right now on average, these are all super young players with insane talent, and we're going to see why they staged an 8-13 comeback on the T side, mostly thanks to Stavn, okay, but sorry, mostly thanks to Hunden. Okay, we're going to talk about this whole T side. You know, I want to anchor it with Stavn in the thumbnail and talk about his performance because he had a really good stat line here. You know, 92 ADR, 15-10 in that half, and a 92% KAST. This stands for kills, assist, survive, and traded, which means they basically had some form of impact in every single round. And but the T side was tied together by incredible executes, and they punished Vitality for playing too passive over and over again. I'll tell you right now, okay? After all my years of casting, I think the number one reason that I've seen teams are overrated on their Inferno, it's because on CT side, they play it a bit too passively. So sorry yesterday, I didn't have the desktop audio enabled, and I was like, hey, let's have a listen, and then listen to Elish talk to me, but not to the video for about 4.5 minutes or so. So that was a little bit awkward, but hey, I got booed off stage at a talent show in high school, so I've survived more embarrassment in my lifetime. But Vitality, have they? Another French final lost, this time to some kids. Heroic. The youngest team in Denmark, the youngest team in the top 20. But are they playing like one of the most experienced? You know, a lot of people are saying this is largely in part due to Hunden. Kadian himself cited how much work Hunden had to do, had to prepare 5 maps in total before this final, before playing Vitality in 2 days. And man, did that research and that effort pay off? They showed us a T side that is one of the best T sides on Inferno to date, period. I'm going to go out and say that. And that would be circumstances aside. But this is during a Cologne final. Their biggest, most highest pressure circumstance that they've ever been in. And again, this is an 8-13 comeback just to show you what kind of resolve that they have and belief in themselves. So I'm going to spoil this a little bit. What we will be seeing is a lot of really great executes. And I'll try to do my best Prius impression to help highlight how good these executes were. And I don't remember exactly what rounds they went A, what rounds they went B. But before they happen, I might try to do some cool Prius fly-throughs and see if we can follow that. So we'll be following primarily Stavn because he's going to be getting most of the action. But this was an absolute team effort. So he's actually carrying flashbangs on this eco round. Aiming high and for the sky, right into the arch setup. This isn't going to end too well. This is Farm City for Zaiwu and friends. 4 kills go to the SMGs. Lots of money made. If you find an op on the eco round, run headfirst into it. Number 1, because an op does not want to take fights versus pistols. And number 2, you want to give them a $500 ace as opposed to a $1,500 ace, like you would if you ran into the SMGs. Sorry, more than that. What am I talking about? $3,000 ace? I'm not going to attempt to do the math right now. Zywoo looking for the pick. And stavn here, protocols wise, sitting in underpass, establishing control. And it's not a passive setup just yet, but sometimes what you'll see... Oh my god. Well, those are two insane entries. Actually, yeah, a full push in through halls because I guess they're on some type of a broken buy. Let's take a look at Zywoo and see what he does. Of course, it's a lot. Maintains pick control, shuts down the only halls presence that they have. Let's see if stavn can actually get this entry. Spamming through, and everybody's already pushed up. He's in on the 1-on-3. 1 HP to his name. And Zywoo, he does the most. I mean, you can always rely on this guy. Oh yeah, we're on 1024 by 768, but this time we're on black bars. Okay, I don't know why anybody would play on black bars. I'm just kidding. I don't want to roast people's resolutions. It's all about comfort. And I think some people play on black bars because it's more comfortable. Sometimes it's a performance thing, which I totally understand. If you play on black bars, I want to know in the comments if you play on black bars. What's your argument for black bars? Why do you play on black bars? Why don't you play that same resolution on stretched? Because it's kind of like ugly native in the sense that you're not stretching the screen, but you're losing out on FOV. And the best argument I can see is that you have less to focus on, but you have that as well on stretched. The next best argument I'd say is, performance, where you might feel like the game is a bit more responsive on a lower resolution and maybe even more on black bars. All right, stavn looking to jump out here through the smoke. Initially looked like he was running sideways. They left CT open to actually attempt to entry through it, and this is not a great situation for Heroic, actually, because they did take this risk. They're going to flash over. They haven't spotted. The bomb hasn't crossed yet. Zywoo's going to punish immediately. And it looks like they'll finally be able to plant coffins. Tiny bit of a risk, expecting some space. This is pretty unlikely, but Cadian taking the risk in assuming that nobody is banana for the meantime. They smoke it off, fearing banana themselves, which allows Cadian to focus heavier on this angle. We'll try to take this fight together, and only one kill comes of it. So it's another round here for Vitality. Things are looking dire for Heroic. And what have we seen so far? Well, we've seen them try to shut down Vitality on the A side on their pushes, and they were successful. But then Zywoo was able to get 3 kills alone from pit with the op. And of course, that's what you're up against. Partly the game plan coming into every map right now is, how do we disable Zywoo? Is Zywoo going to have a good game? What site's he playing on? Because he can just be relied upon for multi-frags. It's one of the only reasons that Vitality is the rank they are. They have a superstar of that caliber, that entire rounds and strategies can be centered around avoiding or disarming him. And there's another piece of impact here from Zywoo. You cannot be giving up opening kills willy-nilly. And I think this sets the stage in a very interesting way to talk about this T-side comeback. Like, what are Heroic learning? We're learning that right now. So stavn, he's once again waited for this. Whoa. Waited for that smoke to come up. They're going to know it's B now. He's already crossed. Smoke comes in. And on his entry pathing, of course, jumping up by the coffins first. So you get a better angle on all the spots on the site with your back turned. And the double entry opens this round up entirely for the team. stavn can sit here, look for the boost. It's a cute off angle. You can drop off. Sometimes you don't want to sit emo just for the sake of getting pre-fired and because you get Molotovs. It's a risk, but you want to think about these positions when you're on low HP. Gimmicky spots. I wouldn't call them free kill spots, but I'd say like 70 damage spots. And of course, Zywoo has the awareness to clear it out. And Nico trying to remember where the bomb goes down, and holy smokes, what a nice try. We got an NT in the chat for Nico. a really good effort and some good economic damage at the very minimum. Tons of money here for Vitality off of that second round where they had the UMP kills, plus a pretty clean affair of it overall. Majority alive here, majority alive here. That last round being the most expensive. And we can see Heroic, they've seen paths to victory. They've gotten into the site, they've gotten the bomb down, they've gotten the 5v3s. In a sense, I'm sure they still feel confident. Also, they're already up a map. Okay. Zywoo answers back on the opening kill. Goes aggressive at mid. Down, smoking to the site. Entry into the B site every single time. Rips Teth's head off. Luckily, team damage is lessened. Apex gets spammed down through the smoke, who seemed to just be camping out, wait to see if the bomb was going to go get planted and maybe spam through coffins or throw a grenade.
Bomb has been planted.
But not on stavn's camping grounds. He's the bear in the woods. Apex was the piece of food that he could smell from miles away. And it's the double entry that wins. It simply wins the rounds. There's no chance to retake. Part of the reason the entry is so strong here on Inferno is because if you get up top oranges and you can see over the smoke, think about here if you're a CT. You can rotate in. This is why Inferno rotates. They're actually not much longer than other maps, but they feel longer. Because once you get here, it's like when the retake begins. Where on a normal site, you would get like here behind a connector smoke on Barrage, and you'd be able to set up and throw nades right at the bomb site. Here, you got to start the retake over here if you're a little bit late, if your teammate dies on the site. Back here in CT spawn. And so that makes it a whole... That's what puts the emphasis on the site holds on Inferno more than any other map. That's why the rotations are so important here on the CT side. You know, rotations are important on all maps, but there are certain maps that are certainly more important. Nuke is where it gets very complicated. Inferno is where it's just more demand on the actual site holds themselves. But maps like Dust 2 and Barrage, I mean, rotations are key, of course, but they aren't as important. 5v4s aren't as important, I would say, as some of these quote-unquote harder maps. I think that's what people define a harder map as. Ones that require a bit more team communication. I do think sometimes, you know, we say these things without truly thinking about them. And if you really did break them down, you'd find a lot of similarities. Like, oh, the economy on CD side matters on this map so much. And it's something that analysts say, but I think there is some truth to some of these statements. So stavn trying to establish, they scurry Vitality away back into the site, but Vitality actually come back to clear it out. They've got the retake smoke that also threatens a peek, and Heroic are just going to re-aggress again after they take a peek. Very unsafe to try to hold here late, and Vitality are in one of the most passive setups that you can hold. They do have some info on Arch at least. And I think this is where we get an execute coming in. I'm going to go ahead and go for the sky view just because it feels like things are quieting down. And we'll take a look at maybe what Molotovs and smokes get set up here. CT smoke. Molotov in response. But it's actually just the first layer execute. I don't know if they're going to re-smoke CT. Smoke coffins, emo smoke, quad smoke. Second oranges smoke that lands on the top, so it mollies. Potentially a bit of oranges as well. And yeah, it pushes the fight out into the open. Very simple stuff. Quite a standard execute here on the B site, but why does it have to be complicated? They covered everything. I think this Molotov may have missed a bit. You can get one that lands right here that spreads on both sides. Here, you know, of course, he's just now forced to take this angle. And with emo mollied out and second oranges, there's no real place to fall back to, especially if he thinks that the opponents are going to just come through at that very moment. So he's forced to take some kind of a risk. And he also had a player boosted up in CT spawn to help him take the fight. So let's go forward with it. Heroic are now making waves. And they're increasing the complexity of their defaults as the rounds roll on. There's been a couple of rounds where they conditioned Vitality into assuming that, you know, stavn was going to run through into B very quickly. And that drew out a lot of the utility that Vitality had to hold later on. They've been a bit more adamant about trying to shut down the early round because they're scared of stavn. And that's made the later round executes a lot stronger. So you've got to appreciate here Heroic's conditioning here on the T side. Oh, man. Okay. This is the... Okay. Look at this execute. We talk about nullifying Zaiwu. The R-Traps comes in. Zaiwu just trying to see anything. Masuda in pit. Zaiwu gets killed after eating 3 flashbangs in a row. Masuda dies small pit. No chance to fight back. And the site is taken. 5 alive. Damage done to only Borup. Only half HP done to Borup. A perfect execution once again. Punished the fact that Vitality focused on B this round and didn't have that much presence up at bracket. Absolutely incredible. Truly. I mean, you don't even have to aim well with how good that execute was. And then they are in such a prime position to go and hunt down the exits as well. RPK will save nothing. Nobody dies from Heroic. One of the best T rounds that we've seen in a long time, period. And again, it wasn't overly complicated. It wasn't even that special. It was just well drilled. You know, flashing Arch for the player who's holding Moto with an op is common. The 3 flashes as they continued are common. The fact that there's a player ready to peek as soon as that flash goes off, there's no chance to re-peek, that's a bit more uncommon. And then for that to happen in succession, and also for his teammate in the site trying to support him to get equally as flashed a number of times, that's what makes that round so nice. It's the execution. So suddenly, Vitality tail between the legs. And stavn up to 20 kills already. Looking to lead the charge. And it looks like they're saving the cool stuff for later. Deciding, let's just group up. They actually establish on Hall's control. And we'll try to charge into B. Vitality don't do anything special here on this eco round. Still a 3-2 setup. And one thing I'm not sure if it's... I don't know if it's disappointing or exciting, but it feels like some of these up-and-coming teams genuinely have more stuff and better executions than some of the older teams. And I don't know if that's burnout. I don't know if that's ego. I don't know what it is. And I don't know if it's exciting or disappointing, but it is interesting to see, you know, Heroic look like the better, more well-drilled, more talented roster than Vitality. But I'm all for the best CS possible, so if more teams want to do this, I think Heroic winning Cologne shows you that you should stick to it. You should work really hard, and this game changes fast. You may be able to take down your idols in a tournament setting in basically no time at all. Very good awareness here from stavn, and that's a site opened up. Let's see how Shox deals with this. Forced to move back to oranges. The entry pathing, of course, coming up. Coffins and a fantastic flash from Cadian to make sure that he has no chance to shoot back, and Vitality absolutely iced out here. Really sick stuff. You know, even though stavn gets traded, he gets traded at the top of Banana with his trader having no option but to fight more. And because they go 1 for 1, 1 for 1, that's T favored every single time. Again, because we talked about how important the site holds are on this map. If you don't go positive in trades as a CT fast enough or a delay, there's almost no chance to go for the retake, even if it's even numbers, if your teammates are still on the A site, assuming that it's not a full-on B take. Eyes on stavn. Another great flash setup. Let's go ahead and watch this round one more time. What was the read on the situation? Did they decide to go early onto banana? And how did stavn get there without ZywOo spotting him? Hug the Wall probably jumped out device style to the right corner pocket. And then I think they probably waited for a window flash from spawn. And yeah, I was supposed to do this in refrag, but bit rushed today. Bit rushed today.
Counter-terrorists win.
I actually called Henry G this morning. I wanted to catch up. It's been some time. And it's good to hear he's doing really well. Some really cool stuff coming up with him, actually, that I cannot spoil. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this round one more time. I'm kind of curious about the setup right away from Vitality, what they see. Okay, stavn jumps out. ZywOo, immediate boost to the wall. And they cut presence completely apart from stavn. Look at this. So he's going to sit up here and oh my god. It's just a crazy timing. I mean, I don't even know how well they read that. That's insane. I mean, he popped out of the blue. Literally like David Blaine. That's crazy. Vitality read into that. I mean, they just got perfectly countered. The exact adjustment that they were going to make. And then the exact right counter here from Heroic. Amazing calling. Gotta love how they aren't scared. They shoot the CTs back into the site once again. 14-13, they're not scared at all. They know Vitality are on one of their last buys. They keep the tempo high. I love that. Whoa, stavn literally sideways strafing to get into the site. Beating a timing here on Apex and another double entry. Just incredible. He was sideways strafing to avoid getting flashed, actually gaining ground faster than running straight, and then gets into construction and catches Apex just as he's swinging out. I think that one might be brought to you by movement. That is some really cool shit. Not only that, but he keeps eyes on CT spawn while he's doing it. And finally an opening kill after it would basically seem like every single round that Vitality were able to win was because ZywOo could get an op kill, trade, hold, opening frag. And so ZywOo's like, let me figure out B for you guys. Just nasty, man. He has such good first bullet accuracy. And it's a 2-on-3 situation, but it's actually very winnable. Okay, let's see the post-plant positions and how they play them. So the smoke is to go to Moto. They're expelling a lot of their utility here. Nico looks like he's just going to make sure that he fights Arch without exposing himself to halls. And Tessa says, I have your run-up on an off angle to shoot at least one person on the side. Molly comes out. Tessa's pushed out of hit position, but he doesn't get cleared, and now Tessus in a 1v1, and he's got this half wall to work with to defend himself against the op. He's going to spot Apex coming off the bomb, and that is the game right there. Oh man, just wonder. I mean, that was amazing. That was just incredible on so many different fronts, right? Like that was. Like, where do you rate that Inferno T-Side yourself? I really haven't seen a T-Side that clean. Such great calling, such great reads, executions, but not this reliance on executions. In terms of conditioning, they started off with very loose stuff. Their fraggers were on. stavn was hitting the entries. They picked the right sites to go to. They countered Vitality's adjustments. They weren't afraid to keep the tempo high. And just from a number of angles, I mean, that's a 10 out of 10 T-side. We looked at the Sprout T-side and how cool that was. There were just a number of glaring kind of mechanical failures from OG that made Sprout's T-side, I think, look even better. In this situation, I think, Heroic having to come back from 8 to 13 in a final versus Vitality, where Zywoo is playing well on the CT side, and we saw how many players were simply had no chance to fight back. I have to say, I mean, this is definitely one of the best T-sides I've ever seen. Maps aside, Heroic are looking incredibly strong right now, and stavn is the face of it all. Honestly, they're all the face of it all. They're all really, really good. 2.6 sensitivity on this guy. And I guess maybe a few people are switching to black bars tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any feedback, if you think these videos could be better, let me know how. I appreciate the positive comments, but I'm going to be doing these videos every single day. And I would, of course, like to know, like, how can they be better? I need them to be digestible if I do them every single day. And I need them to be, relatively easy for me to make. Are you happy with the way they are? Do you wish they were a bit shorter? Is there anything that you think could make them a bit better? The intro's shorter. Anything else you'd like to know about the players before we begin, stats-wise? Do you find these compelling? Do you like how I watched a player but then also focused on the rest of the team when it wasn't anything interesting happening on his screen? Would you rather do that more along with the POVs? Let me know. Let me know. Just anything. Don't worry. Don't worry about hurting my feelings. I'm here to do a good job, and I'm going to be here for a long time. So let's try to improve stuff. And I hope you guys like the new thumbnails. Worked really hard on making some cool ones last night. So yeah, live streaming on Twitch right now, and I'll see you there 2 to 7, Monday to Thursday, every week. And I'll see you back here for another video. Take care, everybody. Tell your friends.